President Biden and former President Trump just gave their strongest indication yet that he wants to debate former President Trump, and Trump responded.
President, when will you debate President Trump?
Let's set it up right now. I'm ready to go anywhere that you are. Anytime, anywhere, any place. Let's go, Joe. Let's debate.
Let's go, Joe, meaning this time Joe Concha. He's a Fox News contributor, joins us now. Joe, describe the panic setting in the White House, both their comms office, the overall administration, when Joe Biden writes a check like that his body and his mind cannot cash.
Top Gun reference? Top Gun 1, I believe you we're going with there. Look, the debate season in the general election usually begins at the end of September. But to Mr. Biden's point, let's debate right now. He said, set it up. Let's set it up. Donald Trump will meet him today to debate if it came to that. Obviously, Team Biden's handlers are not going to allow this in any way, shape, or form until at least after early voting begins. So as the great Mills Lane used to say, let's get it on, because we know who the nominees are now. Let's start debating now, because these two men deserve to be in the same ring together, given the stakes.
Well, Mark Thiessen made this comment. He said that if it's even a question that President Biden might not debate, he shouldn't be running for office. I mean, debating is like politics level 101.
Sure.
But you bring up a good point. Is it even his final decision? Because he has said many things, and then his people come out, clean up, say, oh, wait, no, never mind. He actually didn't mean that.
Wow, that's a great question. I look at Katie Hobbs in Arizona, where she would not debate before that gubernatorial race in 2022. You look at John Fetterman, who was still suffering from, obviously, the effects of his stroke at the time. He waited until just a couple of days before that election, after thousands of votes were cast. So I say, in the end, Joe Biden will debate, but it's not going to be the traditional 3 debates. He may do it once and then say, I can't normalize this opponent that I have right now, the insurrectionist, racist, xenophobic, whatever you want to call Donald Trump. That's going to be the excuse, guys.
Well, let's take a trip in the Wayback Machine, shall we? 4 years ago, 2020. Let's watch.
I think you owe an explanation to the American people.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life. We're about to go into a dark winter, and he has no clear plan.
We can't lock ourselves up in a basement like Joe does. Your party wants to go socialist medicine.
My party is me. I am the Democratic Party right now.
You're going to pack the
Make
court?
sure you, in fact, let people know
He doesn't want
you're
to answer the
senator.
question.
But you shut up, man.
Listen.
Okay, so if somehow there is a debate, how do you think it will go down? Will Joe Biden be 2020 Joe Biden? Will the mental decline that we've talked about for years now be on display? And if so, does a debate basically guarantee victory for Trump?
80 million people watch the presidential debates when you go back in history. Joe Biden has shown that if you take him outside of a teleprompter, like the State of the Union address, for example, and he has to speak extemporaneously, it does not go well. It's cleanups on aisles 5, 18, and 24. So at this point, Joe Biden now is the incumbent. He has to defend his record when it comes to inflation, when it comes to crime, when it comes to immigration in the border, when it comes to foreign policy and basically throwing Israel under the bus. I could go on with all the things where he is vastly underwater when it comes to polling. So I think it will not go well, because Donald Trump is on the right side of those issues in the minds of voters, and Joe Biden is not. And then, even if he could spin out of it, he does not have that ability at this point. This is a very different man than who we saw in 2012 against Paul Ryan, and definitely in 2020 against Donald Trump.
Well, speaking of communication, President Biden was on a Spanish-speaking radio show yesterday, accidentally called the people crossing our southern border Hispanic voters. This was the quote. He said, it's even a bigger influx now in terms of Hispanic voters or Hispanic citizens who want to become citizens. So critics are calling this slip of the tongue aspirational, Joe.
Aspirational and incorrect. When you look at the people coming over the border, it's not just Hispanics from Central America, but from the Middle East, from places that, obviously do not like us very much. Look, 10 million people, nearly 10 million people have entered this country since Joe Biden came into office. What is 10 million people? That's more than the total populations of 40 U.S. states. And we see in places like California, Vermont, Maryland, where illegals are allowed to vote in local elections. It appears to be that the goal is to eventually allow them to vote in federal elections. And when you have presidential elections that come to a few thousand votes in a couple of swing states, that can make all the difference. If it looks intentional and it feels intentional, it's because it is intentional, guys.
I think it's the most honest thing he said all week.
Oh, thank you.
No, not you, Biden.
Ah, yes.
You were honest all week.
You say
You're Joe
everything that
Concha.
comes out of your mouth is honest. But when it comes to the Hispanic vote, if you look at Poland, I mean, man, oh man, Democrats might no longer want this influx because that voting bloc keeps on getting redder and redder. Joe, thank you so much.
Happy weekend.
Yes.
Talk to me, Goose.
All right, now.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.